Hey everybody, welcome back to the video on my Storytime channel. So continue reading the second book Left Behind the Kids series, Second Chance. I'm up to chapter 7 right now, so let's continue reading then. Chapter 7, Crisis, on page 77. Vicky felt awkward when Judd pulled into the driveway of his big suburban home. She had been in a house that size only twice before, both times for parties. But she hadn't felt comfortable then either. But this was different. There was no party here. There was no one here but the two of them. When was the last time she had been alone with a teenage boy without winding up drinking, smoking, doing dope, or worse? Judd seemed nervous, showing her around, telling her she could stay in the guest room bedroom downstairs while he would keep his room upstairs. Doesn't it give you the creeps to stay so close to where the rest of your family used to be? She asked. A little, he said, but I have no choice. Where else would I go? Vicky had been just thinking the same thing. She didn't say so. All she said was, I hate to ask, but do you have anything to eat around here? Name it, Judd said. We have anything and everything you want. Vicky and Judd raided the refrigerator and ate well. She noticed he was as heavy-eyed as she was. I don't like to sleep during the day, she said. I'm going to pass out sitting here if I don't lie down. Judd pointed to the guest room. I'm going to sleep too, he said. I wouldn't be surprised if I sleep all day and night, but I've never done that before. More likely I'll wake up after 7 or 8 hours like I always do. Me too, she said. But I don't remember ever being so exhausted. I say we've been through a lot, wouldn't you? I'd say we've been through a lot, wouldn't you? He said. They both laughed for the first time since they'd known each other. Vicky quickly grew serious. She said, "You know, Judd, I'm going to have to ask you to run me somewhere tomorrow so I can get some clothes. So I can get some clothes. I'll keep track of whatever it costs and pay you back." "No problem," he said. "But first, you've got to check my mom's closet. She was about your size." "Really? What size was she?" "I don't know. She was about your size. That's all I know." "Wow," Vicky said. "I hope I'm still thin when I'm her age." If you believe what Bruce Barnes believes, we haven't got much more than 7 years to live anyway." Plenty of time to get fat," Vicky said, shrugging. "What kind of a remark was that?" She never engaged in small talk with anyone before. In the past, everything she talked about had been centered on what she liked or didn't like. Centered on what she liked or didn't like, what she was going to do or not do. She hated talking about normal things, nothing things she always called them. This is the stuff adults and other boring types always talked about. "You can have whatever you want of my mom's stuff," Judd said. "I mean, she's obviously not coming back. Will it make you feel weird? Wearing someone else's clothes, someone else disappeared? How will you feel seeing me in your mom's clothes?" "I don't guess I'd mind. You'll probably wear them differently. I mean, tied up or cut off or tucked in or untucked or whatever. Yeah, and I hope it'll be temporary anyway. I want to get a job and get myself some new stuff." "Sure, but meanwhile, I'll try to get by with anything that works so I won't have to wear dirty clothes." "Good. You want to look for some stuff now in case we want to change when you get up." "I mean, you don't have to. You look perfectly fine. You might want some fresh. Not that what you're wearing doesn't look fresh or anything, but it's all right, Judd." "Yes, I would like to see if there's something I could wear when I wake up." "Did your mother wear jeans, sweaters, that kind of stuff, or only dresses and old lady stuff?" Here's a picture of her. Vicky studied the photograph, a very youthful, trim, and definitely petite woman. "Is this a recent picture?" "Yeah." Vicky studied the photograph, a very youthful, trim, and definitely petite woman. Is this a recent picture?" "Yeah." "She looks very stylish. My friend said she was a babe." "To her face?" "No, to mine. I was proud of her." She was talking about his mother as if she were dead. It seemed to Vicky his voice was about to break. "I can see why you were proud of her," Vicky said. I can see why you were proud of her," Vicky said. She has a lot of clothes like that. I'd be honored to wear them. Remember, Judd, she's not dead. If everything we believe is true, and we both know it is, she's in heaven." "I know," he said, sitting on the couch and sighing, "but she might as well be dead. She's dead to me. I won't see her again." "Not here, anyway," Vicky agreed. But in heaven or when Jesus comes back. I guess I wouldn't want to see her in heaven," Judd said. "That would have to die within the next 7 years." "Not necessarily," Vicky said, yawning. "Bruce says the seven last years don't actually begin until Israel signs some sort of a treaty with that Antichrist guy." Again, Vicky was stunned at what was coming out of her own mouth. Would she have heard or known any of this a week ago? Would she have cared? Would she have talked about it? Hardly. She had never cared about politics, especially international politics. She didn't really care about much outside her own trailer park. Not only was life in the park gone, but she was also talking about global affairs with the rich kid she had just met. "Nobody even knows if the Antichrist is around yet," Judd said, "but Bruce already has his eye on somebody. I don't think I even want to know who it was," Vicky said. "I sure do," Judd said. "I don't want to be sucked in by him and fooled." "Well, that's true. You want to look at these clothes now? Those clothes now? Sure. Then I'm getting some sleep." Judd directed her to her parents' bedroom and left Vicky to look around in there for herself. She found it eerie. Not 48 hours earlier, people were living here with no idea their minutes were numbered. It was a neat room, but stuff was left about the way it is when people think they'll be back to tidy up. A jewelry box was open. A drawer was half shut. One side of the closet was open, the other shut. Both were on the nightstands, half a glass of water was on the floor next to the bed. Vicky was so tired she could barely keep her eyes open. She checked the closet and wondered what it must be like to have the money to live this way. Jude's mom's closet looked like a department store. Shoes, slacks, blouses, blazers, dresses, belts, you name it. She had been very serious when she saw Jude's mom look stylish, but these kinds of things had never been her style. She had favored a hotter look, a street look, lots of black and leather. Vicky pulled out a pantsuit that looked way too old for her, but she imagined it with the top untucked and the blazer open. She held it against her body and looked in the mirror on the back of the bedroom door. Vicky was startled by her own appearance. She took 2 steps backward and sat on the bed, the hanger pantsuit still pressed against her. She stared at her greasy hair, her makeupless face, her puffy eyes. When was the last time she paid attention to her face without a little makeup and mascara? She looked old and tired, yet her youthfulness peeked through too. The girl in the mirror looked scared, tired, haggard. She had for so long hidden that little girl, trying to make herself appear older. Maybe it had worked, but she didn't want to appear older now. She wanted to be who she was, a 14-year-old girl who had finally come to face with God. Finally, she knew who he was, what he was about. She had given herself to him when she looked just like this, and she didn't want to change. Sure, she hoped she looked better when she had a little sleep and a shower and a clean hair. But she was finished trying to look like a woman in her 20s. No more hiding, no more pretending to be something she wasn't. She would wear an older woman's clothes, but she would wear them in such a way that she was honest with herself, with others, and with God. She was a teenager who had been left behind, but she was also one who had seen what was right and acted upon it. She belonged to God now, and she presented herself to him as she really was. There was nothing wrong with looking nice, but she no longer felt the need to look hard, sexy, or old. She lay back on the bed, stared at the ceiling. Mrs. Thomason's pantsuit draped over her. In a minute, she decided she would get up and head for the guest room, but just within seconds, she had drifted into a deep, deep sleep. Ryan Daly dove behind a hedge across the street and blocked behind Lionel's house. Lionel came charging by, muttering, "Where are you, little chicken?" "I'm right here," Ryan answered. Lionel skidded to a stop and glared at Ryan. "You are a chicken," he said. "Look at you, hiding in there like a little scared rabbit." "So what am I, a chicken or a rabbit?" Lionel shook his head, looking disgusted. Ryan found hard to believe this boy was only a year older than he was. Lionel seemed so much older, so much more mature. He seemed like the type of kind of guy who'd get along on his own, who would stand up to bad guys like he had apparently just done. Ryan couldn't imagine ever doing something like that. "We've got to get back there to get our bikes," Lionel said. "Where'd you run off to anyway?" "What do you mean?" Ryan said. "You can't see where I ran off to. I'm right here, aren't I?" "I mean, why did you run off?" "Because I saw you being chased. No one was chasing me." "Why were you running then?" If I surprised them by bolting out of there, I figured I'd have a big enough head start that they'd give up where they started. They must have. "But Lionel, he'll get us when we go back for the bikes." "You want to walk all the way to your house?" "My house? I thought we were going to stay here." Lionel sighed and told Ryan the story. "So I don't think we're staying here until I get the police to throw them out." "So call the police." "Maybe I will, but don't you think they have enough to worry about right now without trying to figure out who owns my house and who shouldn't be there and who shouldn't? I mean, if the cops found out I'm 13, the only one left in my family, they'll try to put me in an orphanage or something." "Orphanage?" Ryan repeated. "No way. He never heard anything good about an orphanage. Talk about a nightmare. Worst of all, when he thought about it, he realized now he was an orphan. Being abandoned by his parents had always been his biggest fear, and now he didn't think that was just because he was an only child. He was sure he would felt that way even if he had brothers and sisters, and that made him wonder if Lionel felt the same. He had to, didn't he? But he believed this is all about Jesus. But if he believed this is all about heaven and Jesus and heaven and everything, so maybe Lionel was handling it better. At least that's the way it seemed to Ryan. Lionel also seemed to be more interested in getting their bikes. "I want my bike too," Ryan said, "but I'm still not going inside my house." "Man, you've got to get over that," Lionel said. "You can't sleep in a tent the rest of your life, and I know I'm not going to. I just can't go in my house," Ryan said. "What are we going to do?" "We're going to start by getting our bikes. Now come on." Lionel lifted his duffel bag in the bushes, and Ryan followed them as he crept back toward his house. The two guys knew Andre was still casually going in and coming out of the house, unloading stuff from their van. Lionel said, "Let's wait until they've carried some stuff in, then we can run up, get our bikes, and speed away. And what if they see us and come after us in that car or that van?" "What if Chicken Little was right and the sky falls?" And Lionel said, "You've got to learn to take some chances, man." Ryan figured that was supposed to be funny, but he didn't laugh. Lionel was making him feel like a wuss. He never felt that way before. He was an athlete, a tough guy. Kids look up to him, respect him. What would they think of him now, running away and hiding? But how was he supposed to act? The worst thing that could happen to a kid had happened to him. His parents were dead and gone. He had no one left. Anytime anything bad happened to him in his life before, his parents had been there for him. When his dad was gone for some sales training school for 3 months one time, his mother had been there. When she was in the hospital for back surgery, his dad had been there. Neither could do everything the other had always done with them and for him, but they tried. And they made do until the other parent was home and back into the routine. What was he supposed to do now? Both parents were gone, and he couldn't talk to either of them about the loss of the other. He felt alone in the world. He really didn't want to irritate Lionel. If he lost his friend too, where would he be? "Okay," Ryan said finally. Ryan said finally. When they go inside the house, they've been staying inside for a couple minutes before they come back out. As soon as the screen door slams behind them, we go. That should give us enough time. Lionel looked at him, and Ryan thought he actually had admiration or at least respect on his face. All right, Lionel said. Now you're thinking. Let's go. They crouched behind a corner of the house and peered at the door. The two came out laughing and joking. It's too easy, man, one said. This is too easy. Easy and sweet. Wait till Andre gets here. From the front, Ryan heard the two grunting as they dragged something heavy from the van. That's the last of it, then? He heard. Yup, that's all. Set it down a second so I can kick that door shut. Ryan heard the sound of the van door closing. Lionel and Ryan peeked out as the two lugged a small couch up to the door at the side of the house. The two fumbled with the door, finally hollering for inside for one of you lazy slobs to get this door for us. A young woman came running. Just ask you to. I'm here and I'm not lazy. They moved into the house with the couch and the screen door slapped shut behind them. Lionel took off like a shot and Ryan was right behind him. Fast as he had been for years, he couldn't keep up with Lionel. Lionel must have been really scared or really fast because he was moving like the wind. They reached the bikes and Lionel was clearly up on his and riding off the direction of his hidden duffel bag. Ryan saw his own big bag on the ground next to his bike and considered leaving it right there. How would he handle it right fast too? But he couldn't leave it. He needed everything in there. Besides, those guys weren't even coming back out to the van, were they? Hadn't they said that was all of it? Ryan Benson grabbed the bag and slowly mounted his bike, hoping to make no noise or draw any attention to himself. He had to keep one foot on the ground for balance as he slowly wobbled up once he had come to a full stop to shift the weight of the bag. Just as he was starting to gain a little momentum, the scary tingling feeling of fear raced up and down his back. Lionel was reaching it down to grab his own bag from the bushes a block away, but Ryan was sure he heard footsteps and shouting behind him. So yeah, that's chapter 7 of the second book Left by the Kids series, second chance, Crises. And take care, everybody. Another review from my Storytime channel.